heads turning, people coming out of shops to look at us and find out what we were doing. Men started yelling in Arabic across the street at us. I hadn't even been in Lakemba 10 minutes before someone had tipped off the media, and they came running to combat me and tell me this was a perfectly safe area and I had nothing and no reason to be there. Almost immediately, the media's story was proven to be wrong. As we went to go for a walk to the local mosque, a very high-ranked police officer came up to me and begged with me, do not go there.
Is it?
Speaking.
Inspector Rick Ages from Campsie Police.
Yep.
I've been informed that you're intending to attending the Lakemba Mosque, is that correct?
I actually have no intentions of attending. I was just planning on walking through the streets and seeing how the culture was here.
Yes?
Yep.
Are you satisfied with that?
Yep.
So where do you intend on walking to now?
I was just going to walk out and check how the mosque was.
Check where the mosque was?
Yep. Would I not be allowed to attend if I wanted to?
I've got grave concerns that you may cause an imminent breach of the peace down there, so I'm asking you not to attend.
Why would I cause a breach of the peace?
Because it's highly religious down there.
So would it be me causing a breach of the peace, or would it be the people there?
Well, your presence may cause them to be, be offensive or be objective to your attending there.
And so that would be them being offended by me.
Can you turn, not interview me? The local community walk around here without any fear. I walk around here without any fear.
Right, but I'm a critic of Islam.
Yes.
So I can't be in this multicultural because my culture is allowed to have free speech and criticizes
I understand
Islam.
you have your own beliefs and you're allowed to have your own beliefs. I have no issue with that. I'm asking you not to attend down there because I have a fear that you may cause an imminent breach of the peace. In doing so, you may commit an offence.
Am I allowed to walk through the area?
I'm asking you not to go down the Howden Street.
You're asking me, but do I have the legal right to walk down this area?
At this point in time, no.
I know you're walking away, but I would like to do some interviews. Would I be allowed to do interviews?
No, you're not welcome in there.
No, I'm not. No, just to do interviews on the street. Am I allowed to?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm asking you not to.
Would I be allowed to, okay, no cameras, nothing. Would I be allowed to talk to people and criticize Islam?
No.
Why?
Because I'm telling you, no, you're committing an offence. Why do you need to do it here?
Because this is a highly Islamic area.
What questions do you intend asking?
Could I not talk to people and criticize Islam?
Question? Why do you want to... Why do you want to criticise Islam? Like I said, if you're inside, I have fear that you're going to cause a breach of the peace.
No, you fear people will be offended by me.
No, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
And you're committing a breach of the peace. I've given you that warning. And if you do that, you may be breaking the law. Do you understand that?
Yep, I understand it. I perfectly understand. As far as I'm concerned, you have Sharia law here. As far as I'm concerned. Yeah, we'll go to jail if we talk to people. As far as I'm concerned, they have Sharia law here. I was told if I talk to people, even if I put all my cameras away, I can't criticize Islam.
So we've been presented with the idea, the long ago debunked idea of no-go zones, meaning places in the Western world where Muslim law has already surpassed the law of the local government. These nativist hysterics. The first time I became aware of them, at least, was around like 2014, 15, around there, during the rise of the Gamergate era. But it was part of one of the big Sargon Save the West talking points that, look, these places are already taken over, and where I live in the States. The only equivalent I could give you is the nativist talking points about places that are already majority Hispanic and how or majority black, and how the majority non-white population is creating an uncivilized, savage environment because it's part of their DNA to act that way. This is just kind of so like Victorian era. Non-whites or savages, non-Christians or savages type talking points. It's profoundly inaccurate, number one. In Europe, they don't have any legitimacy. But, there's various nations in Europe that have different regulations about religion. I can speak to the fact that their The no-go zone talking point was presented in regards to a largely Muslim-populated part of Michigan, Dearborn, Michigan. That's how they used the talking point about no-go zones here. And it turned out to be a complete crock of shit. It'll always be a complete crock of shit, generally because the United States of America in the Constitution has a separation of church and state. So you cannot get pure theocracy at the city, state, or federal level in this country. It just won't be legal. That being said, if we're looking at religious groups that have overstepped their bounds into disrupting and imposing their religious prudishness onto secular society, you should probably look at white evangelicals, because that's the group that disregarded the tradition of Western secularism for decades now. But because they are, and again, it's Sharia law itself, right? Like theoretical, not straw man Sharia law, is a right-wing quantity. It's a right-wing philosophical position. So what you've got here is a purely racialized argument of, because the trad movement that Lauren Southern is a champion of is basically white Sharia. So when you take the parameters of traditional white Christian values and the parameters of Sharia law, the only real difference is the color of the people that are practicing it or advocating for it. So, like, to me, that sticks out like a sore thumb. That Lauren Southern's number one problem with Sharia law is that it's not white. So she goes on the what I call dead meme tourism, because the fucking no-go zone thing, that's such an old talking point, and it's been debunked over and over again, and with like statistics and by YouTubers who are way more ahead of the game than me, like, Sean and Jen. I still call Sean and Jen. Sean of Sean and Jen. A lot of top tier left YouTubers have taken on the no-go zone thing, and a lot of liberal centrist outlets have taken on the no-go zone thing. Liberal outlets that are still relatively constructive, like Vox, right? Have taken on the no-go zone thing, and it just didn't hold up. So Lauren Southern now goes around beating this dead meme, just going to just any random ass Muslim immigrant neighborhood that is the same as any country's Chinatown or any country's border town where the culture is very, at least in the United States, border towns have, an infusion of Mexican Roman Catholic culture. That's not the same as, the more Anglo-waspy culture of fucking Vermont. You know what I mean? But like, my biggest bone with this, aside from like it's stupid and it's hysteric and it's just completely inaccurate, is like the idea that there's something special about Muslim immigrants, that somehow they're different than every other group of people that have immigrated to Western countries. And nativists always make this argument. They made it when Jews immigrated from Europe to escape the Holocaust, that they were uniquely incapable of adapting to and assimilating into American culture. That was bullshit. They made this argument during the post-Civil War era about Eastern European immigrants that were coming to make homesteads in the West, and Irish immigrants that came in the late 19th century were also presented as uniquely incapable of assimilating into American society. So we've heard all these arguments here that are being that Lauren Southern is running around with in the Muslim neighborhoods of Europe. Even though technically this was Australia, it's not Europe, but I mean, it's a Europe. Her bitching is that this used to be a European-dominated culture, and now because they're serving shawarma on the streets with impunity, The Muslims are, you know, doing dangerous stuff like standing there, walking around, buying groceries in the neighborhood where they already live, where people probably know them by first name. You know, there's been a lot of those videos along with the no-go and stuff. Like, she did one in France that was like just about walking around the streets and bitching that no one was dressed up like Marie Antoinette, like regular French girls, you know what I mean? And like, these should be people with white faces eating baguettes, you know, and you know, oh, France is not France because you know, these cultural. And what's funny is that you know, if you took this argument to Lauren Southern about real imperialism, real colonialism, real groups that came with guns and bullets on ships to dominate indigenous people, as it happened in North America, she would tell you that that's just the cost of doing business. But people who politely immigrated to the West from the Middle East, politely immigrated, they didn't come here on boats. They didn't settle in the territory after killing the people that lived there. And the same thing in America, where like, you know, when they apply this stuff to South and Central Americans, those people crossed the border peacefully. They didn't come in here and kill 100 white people to take their land and live there, which would be way more egregious than just crossing a border without having identification or papers or whatever. So, you know, when you present the crime and tragedy of that to them, they laugh that off like, lol, the white man does as he likes, you know? So that's kind of, you know, the irony of all these fucking statements. And this cop she's talking to in this video, the cop Lauren Southern speaks to in this video, is very tolerant of her beliefs and blah, 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 and just doesn't want her going in and agitating this community by walking into a local mosque as a, a transgressor, pointing a camera at these people. You know, so many different groups of marginalized people have to deal with conservative and liberal types coming into where we live and pointing a camera at us and acting like we're zoo animals. And you know, when Lauren Southern does that to people, she's shocked that people are feel antagonized by someone who's not from your neighborhood, your community. And fucking Lauren Southern is not only not from that community, she's not from that country, coming in there and filming you like she's on safari, like she's recording the behaviors of wild animals. That is condescending and dehumanizing, and you will get fucking scowls if you look like the white journalist who's walking around recording the primitive peoples of the Muslim sub-state.